Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Welcome to our Aging and Spirituality podcast. And I'm Chris Jensen, and this is
Kathy Lee Taylor.
and it's so nice to be back with you again this week. Lots going on in our lives, and lots going on in my life, and I know in everyone's lives. So that's one of the reasons that I chose the topic of setting priorities.
Oh,
so
yeah.
that love and light can come through you 24/7
Wow.
rather than busyness, angst, and pressure. So
Yeah, fun.
yeah, so that's one of the things we wanted to talk about today. And I know we all get caught up in our daily activities, our jobs, our families, coworkers, healthcare, friends, a million things. And a lot of the time we get lost in these activities. And that's kind of causes us stress and angst. Just the activity itself or the pressure to get things done is what becomes dominant in our lives. That's where we put our attention and our awareness.
Right.
But what would you think? Wouldn't you like it if you could stay centered in your inner power and wisdom, letting love and light come through during these activities instead of getting lost in them?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and that's what we're here today to talk, saying that yes, you can. We all can, and we can do it all the time. And the first step is to know that we can do it. And
Yes.
but if we can get centered, if we can find our center, find some balance, we find that we have a powerful, loving, and wise inner self. And if we just get centered first, then we can do all those activities better. We do them with grace and consciousness. And you may say, well, it's not so easy to do when you're stressed. It's easier to do it when you're not busy or not stressed. And I'm going to say it's just the opposite. When you can get centered first, even if you just touch lightly on the inner self, or even if you just have a few moments of calm and peacefulness, it's going to be easier to have that light coming through in your activities. That's where the shift comes.
Yeah.
You bring the centeredness into what you're doing instead of, I'm doing all this and maybe I can get centered at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Get centered first. Start there.
I have a question already.
Okay.
You said you touch lightly on spirit. What does that mean? Like, to get absorbed in spirit and to do deep meditation takes minutes, hours,
Right.
whatever. So when you say touch lightly on spirit, what my mind did was like, when I know that I have to do something and say I don't have full time to do my sadhana or do my meditation, right? And I have to, but I don't want to ignore spirit. I don't want to ignore, the time that I touch and basically say, please stay with me. I want to be in a place of service. I want you to work through me, your will, not mine. So what does it mean to lightly touch on spirit and still feel the full connection and, power of that?
Yeah. Well, first of all, any effort we put in to meditate and to center, it's already taking us out of the everyday consciousness. Even if we sit there and our mind is really busy on a particular day. But
Okay.
what I meant by touching lightly is, yes, deep meditation for most people takes a really long time to be able to do that and practice. But if we can just sit and do our practice, do a meditation, do something for 15 minutes, you'll find that there's a peacefulness that comes in.
Okay.
And just that peacefulness, we're touching on it. We're touching, maybe you feel a little tinkling in the spine or behind the heart or up here in the forehead. All of those things, we're touching on it. The energy's moving but it doesn't, even if we're not going really, really deep, we're still shifting out of everyday consciousness.
I want to just say there's examples of that in my day when I feel like, okay, my heart's not working the way I normally want it to be. I know what it feels like to be open and really sending that beautiful kind of infinite divine love through. And I can't always do that. And when I don't always do it, I feel it. I feel really different in my being, you know? And so I'll stop and I'll be like, just for a few minutes, focus on your heart and just open it, you know, surround it in a beautiful white or pink light and just keep that open. And oftentimes I'll be able to just ask, can you just uplift me? Can you just inspire me a little bit? And, you know, help me sense that I am in the right place and I am omitting the right kind of energy here, the loving kind of energy that I've committed to being, you know, in relationship with, so I can bring that to my experiences in the world. And oftentimes that, what you described as that light touching, feels like that, just enough to stop and ask and say, I need this now. I need this now.
You know, that asking is so important.
Yeah.
Just asking commits a tremendous energy.
Yeah.
I remember this one time I was working and had to travel to India, and I hadn't been there before, and I was anxious, you know.
Yep.
And I got the flu right before I was supposed to leave.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. I had a raging fever.
On the plane.
There was a raging fever a few days before. And so I was supposed to leave on Tuesday, and that Friday or Saturday, I went to urgent care. And I said to the doctor, you know, can I take this trip on Tuesday? And he did some tests. He said, yeah, he said, you'll be fine. I'll give you some cough medicine with codeine. It'll knock you out.
Knock you out. Yeah.
As long as, because my fever was going down. He said, as long as the fever's down, you can go. And so by the time I left, the fever was down. I wasn't going to take his codeine medicine, cough medicine, but I was very weakened in a lot of ways, you know. Yeah. So I get on this plane and I'm thinking, 22 hours on a plane. And I feel like that. And I just asked, because I was in a very humble, surrendered moment.
Right, right.
And I just asked, I said, hey, I need some help here.
Yep.
And it came. I mean, I felt this incredible, blissful, centered energy, which stayed with me the whole trip.
Yeah.
And, you know, I was fine.
Those are such blessed moments. Like, you know, I'm not going to say every time I ask, I feel overwhelmed by.
No, that doesn't happen every time. Right.
Yeah. But sometimes it does. And when it does, you never forget it. You're like, oh, wow, I asked and the world just opened up, you know,
right.
I
and
feel it.
Anytime we ask, even if we don't realize there's a response, there's some kind of response.
Yeah.
There's going to be a response.
You may not be able to feel it, but.
Right. Right. And we may not recognize it even, but there's going to be.
That's true. That's true. We may not recognize what it is. Yeah.
So I will tell you my experience recently, as we mentioned.
Oh, I can't wait to hear. This has got me. You lived through the baby. Yeah.
Yeah. So my daughter had a baby recently, and the baby was 2 weeks early, and he's a little small because of that. And so, you know, she would be anxious anyway, but she's a little more anxious than usual. And he has to eat every hour and a half, 2 hours. So she's constantly breastfeeding him and trying to sleep in between. He doesn't want to sleep unless someone's holding him. So I've been there helping. And the interesting thing for me is one of the things that's helped them is, as soon as I wake up in the morning, if I go and take the baby after she's nursed him, then they can sleep for a couple of hours. You know?
Right, right.
So I've been doing that. But normally what I do in the morning is I get up and I meditate.
Meditate big time, yeah.
I meditate, I do postures, you know, this is when I'm home. Right. And so then I start my day. And so I've been zapping in there. I mean, I get up, I go to the bathroom and I go get them, you know. So
God.
So I can have some peace. Yeah. And so I noticed it's very interesting. The first day, you know, I was there, I had meditated at home, and and then I got him and everything. And the next day was still pretty much of a carryover, but after a couple of days of doing this, and, you know, I would meditate later, but, you know, it wasn't the same. Yeah. And I started to really see the difference. I mean, I've done yoga for a long, long time, so I can do things that help me recenter during the day.
Yeah.
It's not, I mean, it's good, but it's not quite the same as having that real center first.
Right.
You know, and that's the thing I wanted to really talk about today, because it was so glaringly obvious to me that it was way more important. If I needed to get up earlier, then I should just get up earlier. And,
Yeah.
meditate first,
Yeah.
then go get them. Then
Wow.
I'm bringing much more to the table. I'm bringing a lot more to her, to the baby, and to myself, to
Yes.
the energy level.
Yeah.
But it was very interesting because for a few days I didn't do that. I mean, I would do something, I'd see myself going,
Yeah, it was exhausting you, right? To be
it
able
was
to,
exhausting me.
yeah, because you didn't have a place where you were coming from to give the energy. You were just
Right.
bone dry.
Yeah.
Like and when you get up in the morning and you do that it's like a sacred moment. It's a holy moment when you connect and you open up this space for that connection. And when
Yeah.
you do that, everything in the world is different.
It's very different. It's a different day. It's, and you're bringing that to what you do.
You're bringing the energy to everything that you do.
Right. And so I wasn't bringing that,
Yeah.
I became acutely aware of the difference. And that's why I was saying, at the beginning of this podcast, we think that if we're really busy, well, I don't have time to do this, or, I'll do it later. But actually, if we do it first, then we're going to have a lot more time in our day. We're going to be giving a lot more. We're going to be bringing a lot more to it. And we're going to feel rejuvenated at the end of the day.
Because we fill our cup up first. It's
Right.
kind of like going to the gym, right?
Yeah, exactly.
The people that love their gym, the gym rats, they go and they get energy and they're set off the day the right way. And for us yogis, it's like we need to create that sacred place, that way that we enter into the day.
Yeah, you got to have that. You got to have that. And whatever that is for you, I mean, you've got to start it off right. Whenever, if you're particularly busy, if you have a lot of pressures on your plate at the moment, that's the time to spend more time up front, not less. Spend more time and allow yourself to do it. I mean, there are lots of things you can do during the day if you're busy to recenter, but that solidness that you bring from centering first. I mean, I saw acutely the difference. I mean, for many, many years, first thing I do every day is meditate. And not doing that for a few days. I mean, of course, I meditated later, but it was different. It was
definitely
there was a difference, and it's a good thing. I mean, if you can't do it first, do it sometime. But doing it first really helps. It really brings that spiritual consciousness.
Yes.
I mean, we talked about aging and spirituality. I mean, as we age, we need it even more.
Even more.
Even more.
Yes.
And there are some things we can do during the day.
Well, because the question that's coming up in my mind is, would you have fallen asleep if you'd gotten up to meditate and, being tired and all of that? But if you had spent those moments trying to meditate before you go in to take care of the body, or the baby, would you be ready? Would you be able to meditate at the level that you normally can?
Yeah, I think the intention and effort we put into meditation.
Yeah.
For me, sometimes it's actually better if I'm a little bit tired and a little bit, because there's absolutely more surrender.
Right. Yes.
But I think just knowing that was more important to do that.
Right.
And doing it with some consciousness.
Yes.
And knowing that probably at the end of the day, I was going to be more tired because of everything that went on during the day, because I didn't do it first thing. So that also gave me an impetus to do that. And I just, I set an alarm, rather than just, like what we were doing was, as soon as I woke up, I'd go in and grab them.
It's kind of like saying, okay, God, I'm putting you first no matter what.
Yes.
And when you take that step towards God, God takes 10 towards you. You'll be filled with what you need. You'll be taken care of. You might feel a little pooped, but you still honor those commitments.
That's very important what you said. Putting God first, and you take that step, and then he takes a bunch of steps to you.
Absolutely.
And whether my meditation is at a certain level or not, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, he's not judging you.
He's not judging. He's
Yeah,
not judging.
exactly.
We're giving our time and our attention. You know, yogis define love as giving of self. So we
That's
give
right.
we give of ourselves during that time as best we can.
That's right.
And you know, there's a response. There's
Yep.
always a beautiful response. And
Yeah.
I think that's, you know, that's so important. But I like what you said about putting God first, because we tend to put other priorities first.
Yes, we do.
And then we add in our spiritual selves, you know.
Yep.
But that
The
doesn't
big
work.
part of the spiritual path is learning how to put God first in every
Yes.
situation.
Right.
It really
How
is.
to make that a priority, you know, and because you
Yes.
put God first, everything else is going to go better.
Yes.
It's not going to be, it's not going to be crazy. It's going to be better. You know?
Yep. I
And
agree.
it's hard for us to understand that at first. I didn't when I first came to the spiritual path.
Yep.
You know, I had some trepidations about it, but as I progressed and experienced it, it was very clear. You know,
Yes.
it's, you know, it's that ego thing again. You know, we
Right.
think that we know better. We think we can do everything. And,
Yes.
you know, and you know, in yoga, one of the things we say is recognize that you're not the doer.
Yes.
Let spirit, let higher consciousness come through you and be the doer. You know, there's and I took me a long time to get that when I first started yoga. And I thought, well,
Yep.
wait a minute. What do you mean I'm
Yes.
not the doer? If I'm sweeping the floor, I'm sweeping the floor.
Yeah.
But in reality, if we can just surrender and let that infinite power and consciousness move through
Yes.
us, we can sweep the floor a lot better.
Yeah. And it's God sweeping the floor through you, you know, because that's what
Yeah,
was called for, kind of thing.
yeah, yeah.
Exactly right.
There's an analogy of you see pictures of Krishna and he's playing a flute.
Yes.
And the analogy there is that, you know, we are the instrument. We're the flute, and Krishna is higher consciousness or divine nature or God, you know, just moving through us,
Mm.
flowing through us.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
That's where we want to be.
That
That's
is.
where we have the most to give.
Yes. And and as you can see, even at our ages along the path, that challenge is always there.
Oh,
God
yeah.
first. That challenge is always there. You have to know how to put God first in every situation. And this is a great example, trying to keep trying to put toothpicks in your eyes and stay awake while you're feeding a 5-pound baby who's ruling the whole family.
Who's ruling everything.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, but you know, we all have those situations.
Yep.
There's always something that comes up.
Yep.
You know, and in
Absolutely.
all of my work life, there was always a situation.
Yep.
You know, in sharing yoga, you know.
Yes, as a
there's
teacher.
always
Yeah.
a situation. And you know, when the pandemic started and we needed to go online, and we started doing a lot of classes, and there weren't a lot of people at our yoga center that have much technology knowledge, so I'll say it like that.
Right, right, right.
And so the few of us that did, Kathy, me, you know, maybe one other person,
Yeah.
we were doing quite a bit. You know.
Yeah.
But by putting God first, you know, by meditating and putting that desire to be an instrument,
Yep.
then, you know, we had the energy and the ability to
And
do
look,
it.
yeah, and look what grew out of it. I mean,
Yeah.
all of the online classes that are happening now that are free. I mean, we had none of that before COVID hit, and it all just kind of naturally came into place and grew as we all went through this lockdown for a couple of years. And now we have all these amazing people that come online and do our classes, reaching out across the world.
We have 1,000 classes online. Right now.
Wow.
Yeah, 1,000 videos, because some of them are Ramakrishnananda's videos.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But videos and classes are online now. And,
Wow.
you know, none of that existed before. And
Right.
yeah, so.
Now people from all around the world are seeing the information and
Yep.
doing the postures and listening to the
Yeah,
pranayama classes and the meditation classes and all of that. So that's really a beautiful thing that happened in that.
yeah. It's amazing. It's amazing the shift that occurred. And, you know, that was able to happen because we were able to open ourselves up to be instruments.
Absolutely.
You know, we wouldn't have, I don't think we would have just concocted this, or, you know, if we were scrambling around, it wouldn't have happened in quite the same way.
Yep. The priority was to keep the yoga center going, and we knew we couldn't be physically there.
Mhm.
So we created the whole online space and kept it going.
Yeah, yeah.
Kept the work going.
Yeah.
So,
It's-
yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing the changes, and the people all over the world, you know, and
Yeah.
former students who couldn't, you know, come to class because they moved away. So lots of that's happening. And
Absolutely.
I wanted to talk a little bit about some things that help us recenter. I mean, if
Some
you,
exercises?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, good. I want to do them. Okay.
so, you know, in the morning, I really recommend, you know, some meditation technique that helps you center. I was going to share one that is what we call at the Yoga Center Meditation 1, because it's a basis for meditation, and it opens up the centers so that you can meditate more deeply. And
You mean the chakra centers? Is that what you're talking about?
yes,
Okay.
yeah, thank you. Yeah, the chakra centers. Yeah, it helps to open them up. And so this one, you sit to meditate and you close your eyes, first of all, because it helps to keep out the visual stimulation. And then when you inhale, first of all, you visualize a ball of light at the base of the spine. You inhale, you bring this light up your spine, and it pauses behind the heart. And then as you pause there, right along the spine behind the heart, with every exhalation, you sense that a white light or a pink light is expanding out from your heart. A pink light is really nice, so let's go with that one. And it expands out, then you inhale and you bring it in, and then you just let it expand out, out, out for a little while, for a few minutes. And then you bring it back in, and then you continue to bring that light up your spine. It comes into the forehead, and it pauses at a point between the eyebrows, just above the eyes. And then it moves up to the top of your head, about an inch or two above the top of your head. And there you visualize a sphere of white light. And this white light pours down over your brain and your face. And it can come down as far as your hips or just over your brain and face. And then after you sit there for a while, now when you're in the heart center, when you went there and you were expanding, you could chant the words love, love, love to help. If you're more auditory, that will help keep your attention there. When this light is pouring over your head, if you're more auditory, you can chant peace, peace, peace. And then after a little while, then you're going to bring that back. You're going to bring the light back from the top of your head into the forehead, all the way down the spine to the base of the spine. And you want to do that process. If you can do that and just let it pause in the heart and then above the head, and do the whole process in 15 minutes, that would be ideal. If you don't have 15 minutes, you can do it in less time. When you're done, after you bring the light all the way down, then you want to inhale and tense your body away from the toes to the top of the head, and then exhale and relax. And that just brings that all fully back into your body.
Oh, that really feels beautiful.
Yeah, it's a beautiful meditation practice. And, you know, you do the expansion of the light in the heart center. You can chant love, love, love. The white light pours over your head. You can chant peace, peace, peace. I'm auditory, so I like to use the words as well, but, you know, you don't have to either way.
It feels like it's connecting you to like divine energy from the earth, but also coming down into the body as well. So it feels like this, you know, extreme connection going all the way through you. It's really beautiful.
It's a great connection. It's a really great connection. So, so that's a beautiful way to start your day. And like we say, ideally, if you can meditate for 15 minutes, because it takes 12 minutes for the average mind to calm down, and all you need are 3 good minutes. Remember, I said only 2 minutes, 38 seconds to go into samadhi. So 3 good minutes is awesome. So if you can do it for 15 minutes, if you can't, whatever you can do is great, but the 15 minutes will make a difference.
Yes.
And if that doesn't work for you, another thing you can do is just think of a beautiful scene that you love, something that's very peaceful to you, a calm lake somewhere, and just try to keep your attention on it. That's another thing that could work.
Yeah.
And then during the day, you find yourself a little off. I do the same thing. I mentally chant, like I see myself a little off center. I'll mentally chant Om, or maybe serenity, or peace, or love, my daughter, I was sharing this with her, and when she was nursing the baby and he was having trouble latching on it, clamping on with his little mouth. And she's going, serenity.
It doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt.
But it helped.
Yeah, it does.
It did help,
Yeah.
Then there's also, find yourself going off center. Breathing is very helpful. A couple of breathing practices. Actually, just deep diaphragmatic breaths will help.
Right.
But you can do what we call box breathing, where you inhale for a count of 5 or 10, what's comfortable for you. I would say 5 to start. Retain for the same count, exhale for the same count, and hold it out for the same count. So you're inhaling through your nose for 5, holding your breath for 5, exhaling through your nose for 5,
Very calming.
and then holding it out for 5. Very calming, very calming. Gets you really centered and focused. They actually teach that to Navy SEALs. That's one of the things.
Oh, is that right? I didn't
Yeah,
know
they
that.
teach them that, when they're in a
Wow.
really challenging situation and they don't know what to do that.
Wow.
Yeah.
So they can make good decisions.
They can make good decisions,
Those
because they're
basic
making
ones.
life and death decisions. So,
Yes, they are.
right. Now, we're not making life and death decisions necessarily, but you know what? We feel like we are.
Yeah, sometimes you do.
We feel like we are. So, these things are helpful and they keep us centered. And if we can do that, we bring that light into our lives instead
And
of,
we need all the tricks along the way that we can get.
yeah.
Really,
Yeah.
because sometimes you'll think you know what you want to do in a certain situation and it doesn't feel like it's working. Then you're like, now what do I do? So the more you get to pull out of the bag, you can find one that is right for the moment.
Yeah.
That's very true. That's very helpful. I love when you give those practices because, I've been doing this a long time, but I'm going to go do one of those right now because it just feels so good,
It feels good. Yeah, it
Yeah.
feels good. So why not?
Exactly. It's been a long day and I've had a lot of work to do and now I just want to relax and I want to feel that bliss going up and down my spine and just,
Mhm.
be in a place where I'm so serene and happy and peaceful. I mean,
Mhm.
I
Yeah,
can't think of a more important thing to do. So thank you for that. That was really good.
yeah, I agree. Well, I hope this has been helpful for everybody. And again, please send us questions. We're happy to share our experiences and see if that's helpful to you. I know we all have ups and downs in life, so. And
Absolutely.
we appreciate you joining us. And
Yes. Keep listening.
Yep, we'll see
See
you
you next
again.
week.
Yep, we'll talk to you again soon.
Take
Bye.
care. Bye.